joining us today for our webinar, What is the Mobile Supply Chain? Before we get started, here are some webinar logistics that you should know. All of the phone lines have been muted upon entry, so if you have questions, with the chat function to contact our presenter, Bill Hill. Time permits for questions at the end of the webinar, but please feel free to send them to Bill at any time throughout the presentation. And we are recording this presentation. Right after the webinar, we'll send out an email with a link to the recording, a copy of the presentation, and a short survey requesting your feedback so that we can make sure we address any additional questions. At this time, I'm going to introduce Jack Vandenbrink. He's a partner at Quistor, and I will let Jack tell you a little bit about Quistor, and then we'll start the webinar. Thank you.
Everyone, good morning, depending on which time zone you are. We'll do the webinar for the mobile supply chain. Bill, can you continue with the next slide, please? So the next are our value proposition. Our value propositions which we deliver from Europe. So Quistor is operating in Europe. We have some offices in Europe, Netherlands, Belgium, UK, France, Czech Republic, Italy, and Spain. And our main value propositions are around JD Edwards. We're going to deliver you a number of solutions. We can do cloud, 24/7 managed service, BI based on JD Edwards, enterprise mobility and custom development and integration. Where does DSI fit in? I fit in because it's closely related to JD Edwards, but also it's really a complete enterprise mobile platform where we can solve all kind of business issues. So in these areas, DSI will fit in nicely. So please go ahead to the next slide, Bill. It's really important at Quistor. Gartner recognized us for specific quality on managed service in their 2012 Magic Quadrant. Logistics is a long-term customer of us where we are nominated as Supplier of the Year in 2012-2013. More recently, we are 3-year Silver Partner of the Year for JD Edwards with the UK OUG in England. So that's really a voted award, which is important to see really how customers are quality. And we received an Oracle Excellence Award this year in the Netherlands to be specialized partner in the industry technology, which is also very good. So important for us is quality, and also important for us is really quality products. And I think that's something where we want to implement this at our customer, and that's why we also have a strong relationship with DSI to be able to implement their solutions in the European region, not only implementing but also after the project, really supporting them on a proper way. So next slide, please, Bill. Customers, here are some names. We really work close together with DSI, is for example Spirax Sarco, which they use DSI, which we implemented. Darling Ingredients also uses DSI, and we are upgrading our solution at the moment. So these are two names where we are very close with DSI to implement. And I'm not sure if the logo of Heskeg is on there, where we just finished an upgrade of their complete DSI platform to the latest release. So everything works closely with JD Edwards. So that's more or less the introduction of Quistor. If there are any questions, just send them to Bill, and we'll pick them up at the end. But for now, I think it's time to really continue with the detailed webinar, and I will hand over to Bill Hill, who is from DSI responsible for executing this webinar. So Bill, go ahead.
I appreciate it. Thank you for everyone joining us this afternoon. I always welcome an opportunity to share what DSI is doing and how we view the full spectrum of the supply chain from a mobile standpoint and what it means to be a mobile supply chain solution. I was at a trade show this week, and if you've been to shows, as most of us have, the first question people ask you is, hey, what is the mobile supply chain, or what does DSI do? So I have spent a good bit of time this week talking to folks around services specifically It was a show we were at in California talking about the services, but I welcome the opportunity to discuss the mobile supply chain. I think it's an interesting way to your business and how you can add value to your customers, and how a solution like DSI can help you through processing that. So, as Jack mentioned, I'm going to walk through the rest of this. My role at DSI is Vice President of International Operations. I spend most time focused on EMEA, Asia, and Australia, which is where DSI has offices. So that's the focus that I have within the company. So through this, some of my stories will be international stories. Some of them will be centric stories. But the purpose of this is to help all of us explore the idea that we have had traditional supply chain challenges to deal with as we've worked in different industries, different types of processes that people have to manage. All of this is kind of this traditional supply chain has been very much of a linear process of getting things, regardless of where you are on this spectrum. Maybe you're a supplier, maybe you're a distribution center, maybe you're a store, maybe you're someone using supplies to provide services for others. Regardless of the process that you're managing as an organization, what are for us in the supply chain have changed. So instead of this very linear model, the thing to happen is we see in the industry that this kind of point-to-point supply chain is being replaced with much more of an omni-channel, customer approach to things, where customers are buying more things online, where it's become virtual warehouses as opposed to big storage facilities. That people interact with customer service, the types of services that we provide. People want to be able to see not only that they ordered something, but where that order is in a process. And as we all know, being able to do this across multiple channels. So this is whether I'm walking into a store, interfacing with this on my iPad, on an airplane as I'm flying home, or sitting down at a computer in my house. All of these different ways are ways that we want to be able to track things. So the challenge of meeting customer needs in this changing is what DSI really focuses on. So think about supply chain as a new reality. It's more of a concentric circle around the consumer, and the consumer interfacing with the supply chain in a lot of different ways. And so I want to talk for a second about what that consumer is. So in some instances, the consumer is, in a retail sense, the consumer is the person who's buying something, right? So in store or online. But we also have companies or mining companies or manufacturers. And in different instances, each of us in our work process is a consumer across these variety of processes. So if you work in a plant, you are a consumer of the services business that's provided to you, whether that's contracted to you or whether that's coming to you through your own arm of an organization. So being able to reach out to get a service order initiated to fix something that's not working in a plant or in an office or in a restaurant, those are all things within the supply chain that we are all become consumers in different places, and we all provide services to consumers in different places based on where we fit in the world that we're in and what it is that our organization does. So the idea of this, we bring some raw materials in, process them, send them to a warehouse, somebody orders them, we ship them to a store and deliver them, all exists. It just exists in a much more complicated, much more interwoven fashion, and that kind of linear supply chain is a thing of the past. And what it does is it creates challenges across the supply chain. So each of you have need to really see from end to end what's going on with your supply chain. Once again, regardless of what service you're providing, my stuff, where are my people, where am I capturing data? Visibility of processes throughout your organization is what DSI focuses on. Execution across that extended supply chain is where we're helping you as an organization manage more effectively. And you compete in a digital economy. So let's unpack these things just a little bit. Invisibility is really essential when, as an organization, I have a different set of expectations from customers today, that I'm actually going to know where my inventory is, and that when I promise something, I'm actually going to be able to deliver that thing that I promise on time, on budget. I can find the inventory, I can deliver the inventory. It also, as information becomes more prevalent, being able to inform customers that, hey, I don't have that in stock, but I know when it's coming, is a matter of managing customer expectations. So invisibility of when something comes in to provide a service. So if I'm a service-oriented company like the organization I was talking to this week, being able to know that when I go to perform a service, that I'm going to have everything on my service truck or in a warehouse nearby that will allow me to perform that service. You know, if any of you have ever had someone show up at your house to fix something, I had a garage door fixed recently. They showed up and they're replacing parts in the garage door and needed something different. Something else was broken that they hadn't planned on. And the fact that he knew that he had it on his truck, that the part that he needed was on his truck, he could go get that part and fix my garage door without having to leave and come back, was a real advantage to me from a customer service standpoint. Visibility is essential to provide good service. Executing across this extended supply chain, not everything is in a real warehouse anymore. Some things are virtual. So be able to know where things are and move things across that supply chain. Compete digital economy, all of you know better than I that things change so quickly that you have to be able to move in an agile fashion to keep up. Being able to have years to make decisions about systems that support customer needs is no longer a reality. Those sorts of things have to happen in a time frame. Simple supply chain enables us to capitalize on business moments. What are those points of information that I have to be able to have visibility into in order to execute my business appropriately, and to dynamically adapt with speed and agility to make sure that I can execute across supply chain. And what is an absolute reality for all of us, if you regardless of where you go, you see people looking at smartphones, looking at smart devices, interacting with the world in a different fashion. I have to be able to get to my customers, my end users, anywhere, anytime, regardless of the role that they play in the organization. So essential business moments that each of you are confronted with that can help mobilize. So if you think about these systems are record, and today we're focused a lot on J.D. Edwards because that's something that there's a lot of experience with, and that's something that Quistor is particularly experienced with. But regardless of the system of record, even if I'm working with J.D. Edwards and have other systems of record that I need to talk to, creatable solutions that allow me to interact with those back office solutions, those systems of record, is really a tremendous advantage from a speed standpoint, from a usability standpoint. I have stories about people rolling out mobile solutions that don't get deployed because they aren't user-friendly enough. They don't really meet a specific process that your organization needs. One of the last things that any of you need to do is invest in a technology that people don't adopt. To create mobile solutions is kind of something lots of people try to do, and it's not something that's easily done. A lot of times, if you've been on for a while, and I can remember 20 years ago showing ERP solutions where self-service was a real focus, and being able to allow employees to interact with their information or allow vendors to interact with your AP or AR departments. What those things tended to be were shrunken down versions of the ERP, and a lot of mobile solutions today. A mobile name, it really is a mobile name only in name, because all we're doing is shrinking down ERP screens onto an iPad or a smartphone, and they're not user friendly. They're not solutions one is going to adopt because they're too hard to use. And think about mobile deployments. You really have to have a strategy around how we address this user interface so that people adopt things quickly, so that my employees will actually find value in the solutions that I'm providing for them, that they will actually use. providing this user interface is one of the keys to addressing a mobile strategy for any organization. What are the smart devices or the computers that people will be using? What are the different systems that I'm going to be talking to? What drives this? Gartner talks about the nature of mobility being thing that has to change quickly. That they actually will refer to mobile apps as almost as throwaway apps. That you have to be able to create them if they meet your need. If they don't meet your need, change that solution usually overnight. Roll out a new solution. When people log in the next day, they have a new solution that they're able to look at that meets a specific need. So with mobile apps, it gives you the ability to change on the fly to meet your specific business needs if you have a solution that supports that. And so creating this front end user interface is one component. But all of us know, and everybody's seen an iceberg metaphor before, right? What's on top is much smaller than what goes into it. So being able to control devices that I have, provisioning this to users and managing security, being able to manage releases of the solution, being able to control at an organizational level when I'm ready to run a new solution. Really key things that are not easily done. Integration into J.D. Edwards, integrate into other systems of record. These are things that DI has been doing for years. We've been providing mobile solutions from a handheld scanning inside the four walls within manufacturing and distribution organizations for 20 years. So this is something that we've been doing for a long time. So this stuff below the water, all of this management, application development, integration to systems of record, authentication, and using LDAP to user logins. These are things that we've been doing for a long time. So lots of organizations can talk about mobility, but they'd be able to do the hard stuff. And this is some of the hard stuff. And these are things that DI has done for a long time. These are things that Quistos is used to working with us on to for their customers as well. So one of the real things to focus on is, can create something that's user-friendly enough for people to adopt it, but enough value to my organization that it really is worth the investment, that I can real-time integrate with systems of record, that I can real-time be able to manage who's using what applications where. And then the feature is, and this is really one of the hard things, I was talking to a gentleman who's a CTO at a large property management company globally. And what he said to me was, we have lots of developers who can build different webs, and we integrate different solutions becomes more simple every day with services and different things. But his comment was, what I don't have time to do is teach guys how to do all of this stuff that all work in a disconnected mode. Because DSI is already doing that. So if I work in a place where I don't have good cellular coverage or good wireless coverage, it's important to me to be able to continue to do my job, to be able to continue to function and do the things I need to do, but able to do that while capturing data that then gets synced back up. So doing some of the hard things is what DSI focuses on. Lots of organizations ask me questions about, well, can't I just go get a web designer or a mobile designer and build a little mobile app? And this is absolutely. You can do that, and if that's all you need, that's a pretty simple, cost-effective thing to do. If you need that mobile app to actually talk to different systems of record in a secure fashion, in a offline fashion, in an easily updated fashion, getting a solution that provides you a platform that does all those things as part of the platform is what DSI can bring you. So the mobile platform that we come to the table with is a solution that allows me to create omni-channel apps. So regardless of any time, anywhere, any role, any device is really a key differentiator for us. So perhaps somebody who needs to just use a web browser against the system of record, the ERP system, but I need to tailor that screen to their process. I could build a process connected back to those back office systems with a different user interface to create a simpler way for someone to do their job. Well, once again, as we all assume, mobility, we all think in terms of smart devices, whether that be a tablet or a phone. That is also going to continue to support scanning with hardened devices to make sure that I can do things that we've been doing for the last 20 years with barcode scanning, RFID scanning, being able to do long-range scanning for organizations that have large warehouses where things might be up high on a shelf. That's not something I'm necessarily going to be tracking that inventory with my smartphones. There are devices that are designed to do that. Rapid development gives me the ability to define a business process, pull it out quickly across this omni-channel. So regardless of the interface that I'm rolling it out to, being able to define my business process once and my integration points once, and then rolling it out to different devices in a rapid, agile, effective way is a real key to having a platform like DSI. Open APIs are we lots of you see these 2 bullet points, open APIs in enterprise integration. These go complementary to one another. They go hand in hand. We have existing system of record in JD Edwards in like large systems of record that we've interfaced with hundreds of times. And these are productized, delivered integration points that are going to make sure that we have transaction integrity. That when JD Edwards receives a record from DSI, it doesn't know the difference between a SI screen and a JD Edwards screen. We're going against the objects that are in the system, those registered functions, and we're hitting those functions just like a JD Edwards interface would. Open APIs gives me the ability to stretch way beyond just those product integration points to give me the option to API into a specific application. I also have web services that I can deploy to pull information and send information. So regardless of whether it's and not to be overly technical because it really isn't the point of this call, but regardless of whether I have SOAP or REST web services that I'm working against, depending on the agent and the function of the system that you're talking to. And by the way, as Oracle continues to try to get to those kind of services wrappers around JD Edwards or e-business in their own applications, that's the direction they're going. DSI has invested in the ability to manage those web services so that when changes come to your systems of record, we'll be there and ready to support those things. Interesting thing is machine-to-machine integration to be able to make physical processes so that I can tell a machine what to do. I can capture information from that machine so that I don't have to have human intervention at every step. Or maybe I have a human, somebody's a driver of a fuel delivery truck who initiates a pump from a smart device in the cab of his or her truck that fills up makes the delivery of fuel, which is a scenario that we have at different organizations around the country. Maybe a manufacturing process where I need to capture the weight of raw materials as they come in the door, and then I need to capture the weight of scrap materials to track what's being used and what's being wasted. All of those things that if the machine will allow us to pull a digital signal from it, either wirelessly or in a connected fashion, give us the ability to have the D system talking to that machine or that application to pull data from it. So machine-machine integration is a capability of the platform that we feel like is a differentiator. What we provide is this mobile platform. I mentioned the platform several times. It is a drag and drop oriented tool, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on that today. We're happy to dig into that in as much detail as you would like at a later date. But a platform that allows you to build and maintain mobile solutions. One of the real differentiators that we feel like, because we've been doing this for 20 years, is to be able to also provide to you solution accelerators that they're componentized applications that you can use as they are and connect to your systems of record, or can use as a starting point to build your applications off and leveraging those to make sure that you can get time to value. So those are things that the mobile platform and the solution accelerators go together to create a unique delivery. So all of the things that I've been talking about in terms of user management, developing solutions, making changes to those solutions quickly, being able to deploy to devices, being able to deploy in a disconnected or connected mode. All of those are functions of the platform. And build new solutions, we provide those solutions through solution accelerators that you can take and then deploy and see if they will meet your need. What we found with many different things is that people want to change things, right? So everybody has specific needs that they work in. I've spent a lot of time in a couple of key industries, but I've spent a lot of time in cross-industry sales as well. And one of the things that's absolutely true across the board is that everyone feels unique. Everyone has very specific things that they're trying to get done that are unique to their organization, unique to their industry. So we give you solution accelerators to help you get started and the platform to turn those things into the solution that you want at the end of the day without additional investment. The platform is the investment. Solution accelerators come with the platform, and you make changes to that as you go. So I've decided to show you a section of different applications to give a sense for what we're talking about in terms of the types of mobile applications that you can build. So we basically have three applications we're going to look at that do completely different things, and I picked things that are completely different because a cross-reference or a cross-section of organizations on the phone that do different things. So I didn't want to focus on any one industry because one of the unique things about the platform also, it gives me the ability to really drive really specific functionality into an industry, but is not limited to that industry. It's functionality that can be provide value across different industries. So regardless of whether you're a life sciences company, a company, a railroad company, a manufacturer of food, doesn't make any difference. DSI is going to be able to support your business processes off of our platform. First thing I'm going to show you is an example of crew management. So if I'm a construction company, management is and by the way, we have all of these as live demos, and I'm happy to, once again, we're happy to spend as much time as you would like digging some of these things if your organization sees something that's specifically interesting. For purposes today, to keep things moving, I'm going to show you some screenshots, some PowerPoints of live applications that we can build. But for our purposes today, they will be screenshots, so I'm not trying to hide something. I'm acknowledging that up front. I just want to show you an example of different flow. So one of the things that we find is most in construction and engineering is a really simple user interface for people who are maybe seeing a truck on a construction job or running a piece of equipment out someplace, and they need to manage their crews. They need to manage daily reporting of information. There are logs that have to be tracked. So the scenario that we're going to look at is a construction company where I'm managing my people and my equipment as specific projects for milestone billing. So I'm tracking milestones so that when we get to certain milestones that we can then bill for the work. So that's a use case for the crew management is having someone in the field managing their crew, capture hours, information about what happened that day so that I can get real-time access to that back in my headquarters. So if I have a crew of people on the left-hand side here that I can add to the right-hand side, so I'm building my crew as of a specific effective date against a specific project. So keys here is, this is a user interface that's designed for an iPad that would be designed to be deployed in the field and not just a shrunken down version of my ERP. Right? There's too many things that have to be done if I shrink down my ERP. This is something that is specifically designed for an iPad, but there's no reason why it couldn't be deployed on a Droid device, on a smartphone, on a computer. If maybe my Windows computer in my truck that I need to interact with. So the user interface is entirely tailorable to your organization. But a couple of interesting things to point out. I have people records here. I have project records here. So my people records may be coming from my PeopleSoft system or my AP system or maybe some other system that I'm using to manage my people, their hours, their skills, their certifications, capturing information on them for payroll. Is coming from my project management solution. So maybe I'm doing project management in JD Edwards. Perhaps I'm doing some other system. Perhaps I'm doing it in Premier. It doesn't really make any difference to us in terms of where the information is coming from. So I'm doing my crews, pulling information from different places, job numbers, crews I'm driving. I have cost codes that I'm pulling in here, equipment that I'm using. So I have people that are tracking hours for individuals against different cost codes, tracking hours against different projects, tracking hours also with equipment. I can mass time entry, or I can do one-by-one time entry. So what happens if you think about a construction scenario? You have somebody sitting in a vehicle today filling this stuff out on paper, and they take that paper at the end of the week and they take it into the main office, and then someone else tries to decipher what that person wrote down on paper throughout the week, hoping that he wrote legibly and didn't spill coffee on any of the papers, and then they enter that into a system. Maybe the following week, you run some reports and you can have some data about what happened 10 days prior, and so you're into the next week work the same way you were doing it before you could actually make any changes. If you find any anomalies, you're making changes 10 to 12 days late. If I'm on a day-to-day basis in a real-time fashion, I can make decisions that affect my business. I'm still doing business throughout the week, so it turns decision-making from a process of days to weeks into the hours to days, and really helps us to make decisions more quickly. So hours, I'm looking at a specific person. Maybe I need to put in some different information, or I need to add more codes or more just to a specific individual. I go in and add that detail here. Being able to do time entry, add hours from multiple group at a time. Different interfaces to help me simplify the process. Adding equipment. One of the things that's really important, and equipment isn't usually where employee records are. Pulling equipment information in as well to be able to put equipment used against specific cost codes, capturing hours, so that I'm billing for equipment also. The other thing that happens, and this happens, you can extrapolate this across almost any business. If I'm not capturing detailed information, I'm probably losing cost, and I'm losing billable opportunity. And in this scenario, if I'm not capturing this information, I can't bill for the use of this equipment and it's costing me money. Able to capture this in a real-time fashion helps as well to drive real value for the organization. For example, in a completely different industry, right? So if you think of one platform that can create solutions to drive value across a really broad spectrum of organizations, or across the broad spectrum of your organization, human inventory is a completely different thing from crew management, right? So my crew management is all about capturing hours and time against a specific project. My assignment inventory, regardless of whether this is a retail consignment, I'm going into a big box store and I have high cost items that are then on consignment, or if I'm going into a life sciences industry where an MRI machine is something that's sitting in hospital somewhere, assignment that's not something that the hospital owns, or it's hip replacements that are in a PAR location in a hospital that aren't things that the hospital owns. But the organization that's providing those needs to be able to run cycle counts to see what inventory level, what is used. So a completely different scenario off the same platform, talking to the same types of systems of record to get a business process that meets my needs. So in this scenario, we've just pulled together a couple different screens here for you to show what is sales history. So I'm a field salesperson going in to do cycle counts to find out where things are with my consigned inventory. What is sales history with this organization? Within an organization, within specific regions, with a specific customer number or specific order, what did they order? Going cycle counts to find out what my inventory is today versus what my inventory was the last time I was here, so that we can bill or the organization can take that inventory in, and we can bill for that inventory, and then we can replenish that. So being able to manage that entire consignment inventory process is something that DSI would be able to support as well. And that's just to give you a completely the type of example that will relate to almost any type of organization, an accident and incident report. So I need to go in and do an incident has happened on my job site, in my facility, whatever the case may be. I'm going to create a new accident report. You can define any type of accident that you want. We have contract here because this is at a specific site tied to a specific contract where work is being done. To be able to track what contract this was against, what site number, what happened. And if you notice, this is just a step-by-step process that would take me from putting an incident to, who are the witnesses, capturing information about those witnesses, about what they saw, capturing signatures to make sure that we can move through the whole process. So those are a handful of screen captures to present for you, what some of the different types of solutions that Vision can provide for you. So once again, I have a platform that I'm building these off of. I'm defining my connections once. I'm defining my work process once. And then based on role, I'm defining a user interface that meets the specific role of particular individuals. A couple of customer success stories that I wanted to highlight as we move toward wrapping things up here. One of the things that I love about mobile supply chain and that I love about my role at DSI is being able to talk to organizations about the art of possibility, the kind of imagine if your workers could conversation. So things that I've often done when I've been with different organizations is talking, what are the things that you would like to automate? What are some of the things that you would like to mobilize? Where are those business moments where you'd like to be able to collect information in a more real-time fashion, or distribute information? Would be a work order to somebody in the field that here's a work order that you need to go complete, or a report to someone about inventory levels that need to be replenished, or it's work for inside the four walls of doing inventory transfers, or maybe my pick, pack, and ship process. So you really get to have the imagine if your workers could conversation more often with the mobile application platform than ever had with selling ERP solutions. They're large, they're hard to change, they're designed to do certain things, they are very commodified. You do what you do with them. There's only so many ways to do a GL, there's only so many ways to do PO approvals, but your business wants to be more flexible than that, and especially in this mobile environment where things change so quickly, and be able to think about what would it be like to have real inventory on hand, be able to provide summaries of materials used in a real-time fashion, being able to leverage technology for barcoding and RFID scanning so that I always knew where things were and I had much clearer visibility. You think about different types of industries. A pipe manufacturer has pipes that sit in a yard and they can be sitting there in all weathers, weeks, months, even years sometimes. But I'm an organization that has a perishable good like Old Dutch Foods who makes potato chips here in the United States. And potatoes come in, and those potatoes have to be branded, they have to be measured, they have to be weighed, they have to be used, they have to be processed in a real time, because if they're not processed at the right time, they become waste, and there's no way to reuse them. They're just waste. So if I don't have a real-time view into where my stuff is and how I can use it effectively, I have waste. And what is in the other end of the supply chain? So we want to make sure we limit waste coming in. When something goes out the door that's consumed by a person, so whether it's food or whether it's a medicine of some sort, a medical device of some sort that gets implanted in a person's body, we need to be able to know that we have traceability of what materials came in that made that device or made that medicine, and where did they go, and who has them. If we ever have to do any sort of recalls, traceability becomes more and more important every day as organizations like all of yours have more legislation put on them to make sure that you can trace where stuff is coming from, where it's processed, and then where it goes, so that you can trace from whether the term is table to or field to fork is one of the things that we hear people talk about. Of food that's grown somewhere that ends up on somebody's table, traceability becomes essential. That an organization like Fonterra, and if any of you've spent time in Asia or Australia, Fonterra is really one of the world's largest producers of milk products. And what happens to milk when it sits around for a few days, unrefrigerated or unused or unprocessed, is that it becomes waste. So this is a great example of an organization that needed to be able to reduce tracking time. I need to know where things are in a more real-time fashion, because that's going to increase my inventory accuracy, which is going to give me traceability. But it's also from an online standpoint. If I can move these products through more quick and have less spoiling, then I have a better impact on my bottom line. So 16,000 employees working in 100 different markets globally, using these solutions to track where are my materials coming from and where are they going. So maybe it's a milk product, maybe it's a milk powder product, maybe it's a yogurt. Regardless of the product, we need to be able to move those through the process in a timely fashion, so that Fonterra can provide quality product to end users that they can trace and that they can actually do in a profitable fashion. The quote from Paul there about timeliness, about accuracy, and once again, with something like milk, timeliness and accuracy is absolutely essential, because to the point where it comes that it's absolutely useless and you just throw it away, and that's money that's leaving your organization and just going right out the door of your organization's profits. If your field sales organization could get by turn directions on the way to a sales call. If any of you have ever been in sales and you found yourself driving through a city that you're not familiar, and you're later than you wanted to, that sense of panic of I'm not going to get to my meeting on time, or I'm not going to be able to meet the customer's expectations. Being able to make sure that you have real information about somebody wants, where they are, what is going to happen when I get there. I know what my job is when I get there to help them, pick inventory or replenish inventory that's there. Being able to help your sales force create better experience for your end customer. Heineken is an organization that we work with, and I know that you guys in Northern Europe know Heineken. We have a relationship with the Heineken distributors in Asia, and we have solutions that are working to deliver beer and a sales tool to all of the beer companies or beer distributors, beer shops around Asia. So we have Singapore, Vietnam, Mongolia, Korea, Thailand, areas throughout that region that are being managed from Singapore, where they have an instance of DSI that allows their 17,000 salespeople to make their sales calls, to track what people need. So I get my inventory of what's on hand now, and I place orders. It may just things like giveaways, free things. I bring out T-shirts or whatever to give to a beer distributor so that they can have to give to customers. Managing all of these things in some of the worst network infrastructure in the world is giving, once again, being able to work in my job in an offline fashion becomes absolutely essential. And that's one of the things that was a differentiator for SI as Heineken was evaluating us. So that real-time sales, quality experience for the people you're selling to is really essential, something that DSI provides to Heineken customers off the back end of the J.D. Edwards system once again. Is an organization that is both in Scotland, Northern Europe. They have different wine distilleries in Australia that use us. So being able to provide a broad range of everything from managing where my liquor inventory is in a warehouse to a store, and managing that liquor inventory in an accurate fashion was one of the real key needs for Chivas. But Pernod Ricard in Australia needed a mobile application where they could walk out into the field and test grapes. They have people who go out in the field and they have a mobile app where I scan a row, I'm on this row at this location, I'm tasting grapes, I'm looking at them for their quality, seeing if pesticides have affected them. So those are widely different use cases for an organization using the size platform to drive value for that organization. So regardless of whether it's barcode scanning on boxes of liquor or individual inventories of liquor, all through a mobile app that I can walk around my field with in a disconnected fashion in Western Australia, grapes for quality. Same platform, two wildly different uses that DSI is driving value for Chivas and Pernod Ricard. Another example is field service engineers. And like I said, I was at a field services show this week, and field services engineers being able to go out and provide quality services to different organizations. So whether it's a contracted field service organization or an internal organization, being able to get work orders, and where I'm supposed to go, complete those work orders, capture costs, capture contract information for warranty, making sure that if there's vandalism instead of something that's broken, being able to capture a picture of that, being able to know that in real time, being able to capture a signature that the work was done and whoever is the sign-off person signs off on that so that I know I have that information. One organization that we have in the United States, there's the largest privately owned, it's a family-owned hamburger chain in Oklahoma, throughout the American Southwest. There's a place called Whataburger. And Whataburger had a real labor issue capturing all of their 750 different restaurants that they manage, and they had a real time capturing labor costs, capturing work that was done, maintenance requests that became stale over time. And what Whataburger was able to do with connecting a field services app to their back office system was to be able to get 4 hours per day of manual processing taken out of creating work orders and POs, just reducing that to minutes, allowing them as an organization to streamline some costs there, reducing errors. As all of us know, if somebody's calling in and talking to me on the phone about something that's happening, or somebody is writing something down that somebody then has to enter into a system at a later date, is very prone for errors. To be able to have the person who knows what's happening enter that while they're doing it, and then that be captured real time back to my system of record is a huge efficiency win for an organization. Being able to manage those, they manage this internally with their own service people, drive all over, remote places in the United States where these restaurants sometimes are 100 miles apart. So I have to have parts on hand, or I have to be able to go to a store and use a P card or a requisition process to pick something up at my big hardware store to come back and fix things. So being able to allow these guys in the field to have what they need to do their job in a real-time fashion was essential for Whataburger. Another example, I've got two more examples just because I think customer stories are more important than anything else to say. Ensemble is an organization that manages pipeline for construction industry. So they have 4 stockyards in southern Texas. They over 165 acres, 155,000 linear feet of pipe per day. One thing that was happening was they were losing pipe, and this pipe is expensive, and somebody was coming in a large, lorry truck, picking up a bunch of pipe, taking that pipe off. Sometimes they were grabbing the right pipe, sometimes they weren't. They were running into inventory issues, and they were running into millions of dollars in loss of pipe in inventory, just because when you're outside, it's harder to control. People are driving in, they're putting things on trucks, driving out. They started managing their inventory by barcode scanning with weatherproof labels on these on their inventory, and tracking that as it was coming in, tracking it as it was going out, and really creating an environment where they had better inventory, quicker turnaround for customers, knowing where their things were. They were driving costs out of the system by not losing inventory. It's on a system that allows them to work in a disconnected or connected fashion. In bilingual system, because in that area of the country, there's lots of people who speak English, there's a lot of people who speak Spanish. So we had to be able to support multiple languages for these guys, which created a real impact on their bottom line. Aegeon in here as a customer, because one of the things that I find most interesting about Aegeon, and they're a construction company who also manufactures pipe. They remanufacture pipe. You can have pipe delivered there, these pipeline pipes that are put in the ground for oil or gas or those sorts of things. They coat these pipes so that they last over time. This is an organization where they came in with a couple of use cases, and when I talked to the CIO there, what he told me was every time we roll out an application, I get more applications that people would like for us to roll out. Having a platform on which you can build different solutions creates real value for your organization to leverage your investments you made in your system of record, which is large and to be expensive to maintain. So when I make changes, when I need to add new functionality, he said I do that in DSI, and I roll that functionality out to my sales, my field services, my PO approvals, my HR high approvals. All of these are processes that people are requesting to build on DSI to face back to JD Edwards, because it's simpler, adds better value, and it creates a better user experience. Those are a lot of information. I'm here in the chat to see if I have any questions. One of the things I will do is look for questions as I turn things back over to Jack, and allow Jack to wrap things up. We'll give it just in here to see if some questions come in via the chat as we turn back to Jack.
Thank you very much. I think a clear story with a lot of examples. I also see that we are customers, because you were talking about liquor and beer and burgers, and we do gelatin and vegetables here. So we need to look at other markets. But I think it shows the broad variety of solutions where we can put design into play in the market, in either in service or sales. And from that point of view, it's really an added value. That's also what we see. And I think the work is really an important message. What we also see in the areas where we are implementing mobile solutions right now is that create a mobile app is not an issue, but to make that there is a mobile infrastructure in place with integration, with all the possibilities you need about deployment and stuff like that is really important. It's really something where people should consider well before they start off with mobile project, and I think that's really important. So, if you want to follow us on any social network, please do so. So we'll also respond to your message if you put them in the social network. Also contact us. The questions you have, if you want to reach out to me directly, my email is jvandenbrink@crystal.com. So I'm sure you can drop me an email there, or give us a call at our office. I'm situated in the Dutch office, so you can call me easily there. This is for now. So I'm not sure, Bill, did you get any questions in the meantime?
A quick question that's come in that I'll address really quickly. I think will be straightforward. One of the questions is, kind of when you're making changes or an upgrade to an ERP, is that something that you necessarily need to change, the mobile solution at the same time? And I would say that one of the real advantages of a mobile platform like DSI is being able to allow you to take your system of record and upgrade it while maintaining the processes that you have at DSI. And the same would be true that I could upgrade DSI without changing my process on my system of record or my ERP system, because we have a library of connectors that are going to make sure that it's an upgraded version or an older version of an ERP that we're going to be able to manage connecting to those things. So it really gives you an ability to make changes that your business needs without actually having to invest in all of the infrastructure. One of the challenges with ERP systems is when you make changes to an ERP, so often you have to change so many different things. And if you've done any customization, you have to change those customizations. With DS, you're going to be able to take those business processes that you've built, point them to the new version of the software. You're maintaining those connections behind the scenes, so your work process doesn't need to change. And connecting to new versions of the application is something that the DSI platform is going to help maintain for you.
Yeah, that's also what I can really build, because we see that our customers, that they prefer upgrades where they stay on the same release of GD Edwards, or we upgrade their GD Edwards environment and they stay on the same DSI platform, or maybe take the advantage of do it in one upgrade for both. And another advantage, of course, is that you are really version independent. So if you compare solution with the Oracle solution, besides the offline capabilities, which are really there from the history, from the initial part of the solution, another big thing indeed is that you can work with a variety of JD Edwards application and tools versions, where the most of the Oracle mobile applications only work with the latest releases. So, okay, well,
great.
I think that's now. Bill, thank you very much for this explanation. If there are any further questions, I think it's good to close on the webinar, and thank you all for attending. And if there are really questions, reach to us and we can help you solving your mobile supply chain issues. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.